No, I'm talking about the Steelers' cumulative first quarter score during their 6-game playoff losing streak. The cumulative score in the first quarters dating to the 2016 NFC title or AFC title game is 73-0. And if that doesn't speak to an unprepared, non-competitive team in the biggest of moments, I don't think anything ever could, honestly. 73-0. And that's what I'm thinking about this morning, what I've been thinking about getting ready for this show. I've been as critical of Mike Tomlin as just about anybody around here. I also have tremendous respect for Mike Tomlin and his record and him as a person, but I have been critical. And I've said and I've written that I wouldn't have extended him for the lengths of time that Art did, especially this last time, which made no sense. I've said things like, well, I wouldn't rip Art if he got rid of Tomlin. I've said a trade wouldn't be a bad idea. I've sat across from Ron Cook, even as long as 5-6 years ago when he would try to bait me in one of our arguments because he was a Tomlin defender for a long time until the end of last season. He would say, so are you saying they should fire him, Joe? Are you saying they should fire him? I'm not blaming Ron for that. It was good sports talk. And I would say, no, I'm not saying that yet. I'm not saying they should fire him. I sat across from Andrew Filipponi here 3 weeks ago. And he said, every year, Joe, you have the same column is, have we had enough yet? Intimating that when am I going to write or say that it's time to move on from Tomlin? And I acknowledge that because I've never been ready to say it fully. I've been extremely judicious when it comes to calling for actually cutting ties with Tomlin. I don't go around calling for firings like, an emotional fan 5 minutes after a game. It's a big deal to come on here and say that. But this has been building now for, about 8 years. And we all saw the game the other night. We all just heard what Kirk Herbstreit said. They didn't show up. They quit on their coach. We know the numbers by now. 8 years without being competitive in a playoff game, never mind winning one. Longest since a streak that began in the 60s. They've tied for the longest playoff losing streak in all of football. And 73-0. So I've never said these words before because I never really, Bob, was convinced it was the right time. And because it is a big deal when we're talking about a guy who's represented this city the way he has, respected across the NFL, likely to be in the Hall of Fame. I was willing to wait, I think, because I think Mike Tomlin deserved the benefit of that doubt, even if barely. But I'll say it now because it's obvious to me. It's obvious like any breakup would be like, wow, it really is time. We saw the game the other night. We saw a team quit on Tomlin. We saw an unprepared team from the start again. The season ends the same again. There's very little hope going into next season. So I'll say it. The Steelers need to fire Mike Tomlin. That's the first time I've said that. And it sort of makes me sick and sad to say it, but it's true now. It's true. And if that needs to come in the form of moving on the way the Patriots did with Belichick, where you make it clear that we're going to move on, but it'll be respectful. We won't announce it as a firing. If they can find a way to make a trade. I know he has a no trade clause. All of that. We've just reached that place. And it couldn't be more clear to me that this is the time.